Third grade, it's time, we're back. I'm just taking a little bit of my leftover clay, and I'm actually going to add something on here. So I'm going to roll it into a coil, and I'm going to kind of pinch it because I want it to be pointy at the edge right there. I'm going to kind of roll it for here, just get a little bit smoother. Maybe that's too long. Pinching. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of fold it like this, figure out where I want to pinch that off, and then I can actually use one of my cutting tools, just kind of cut that off. Okay, so now I'll smooth it out with my finger, and then I'm going to test it out before doing anything else and before attaching it. So, tested it out first. Now I'm going to pull it back off, and now I'm going to score it. Scoring it means scratching it up. So I'm taking one of the pokey tools or a pencil, and I'm scratching up the surface, going in one direction, and then I'm going back in the other direction. The reason why I'm doing this is because this is making there be a lot more surface area, so places for the water to go and places for the clay to connect to each other. So I'm going to scratch up just in the area where I'm going to be attaching this half moon shape to. I'm going to take a little tiny dot of water, put it around the edge there, and put a tiny little dot on the top. Take this, and I'm just going to stick it down. Now, this isn't finished. You have to score, which we did, we scratched it up, wet it, which we did, and now you have to weld it together. So here's where we're going to zoom in. Okay, so can you guys see what's going on? Make sure you guys can actually see. See if I can rotate it like this. That'll be better for you guys. Okay, so readjust it. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to be taking clay from the top and pushing it down to the bottom. So I'm going to go around this whole thing, pushing clay from the top to the bottom. That's what you have to do around the whole thing. I'm going to do it on the inside too, pushing clay from the top and welding it on. Okay, so now it's got kind of a bumpy texture. So I can actually just take my finger with a tiny dot of water and I can start to smooth it out. See how it's just smoothed out now? Okay. Alright. So now that's attached. So I would do this on both sides. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do my beak because it's going to be slightly different. Okay. So now you can see that this is three-dimensional. And now for my beak. The reason why I'm taking separate time to show you the beak is because I'm going to have two things attached here. I'm going to have the bottom section and the top section. So for me, I just want the bottom section to be flat. So I'm going to take that and I'm just going to cut it out. So I'm going to take my tool and I'm just going to cut out like a half moon shape. Okay. And now every piece of clay that you add, you need to smooth it out before you attach it. So I'm smoothing it out with my finger, and you need to test it to make sure you like what it looks like. I'm going to press it down just a little bit, peel it back up, and then scratch up the surface on both sides. Score it, wet it, weld it on. Both sides, score it, wet it, weld it. And so the reason why I wanted to show you this, it's not just because of me attaching it, it's because I'm actually going to put something directly on top of it. So I'm taking this tool, going all the way around. Make sure you smooth everything out before you add anything else on. Okay, and this beak I'm going to make not just like a flat slab like I've been did with this one. I'm actually going to make it kind of rounded and sticking out. So I'm going to take my extra piece of clay, and I'm going to kind of roll it into a cone shape. So I'm making a circle, and then I'm going to just roll the edge, that bottom edge, so that I make it into like a cone shape. And that's too big for me. So again, do that. Flatten out. Okay, so now that I shaped my cone shape, I'm going to press it down so I know exactly where it's going to go. And again, I'm going to be scoring wetting and welding. I really wanted to show you this because notice that I put what was farther away, just like when I'm painting, but what was farthest away first, and then I put stuff on top of it. So I scored, and now I'm going to wet, putting a little bit of water on both the top piece and the bottom piece. And then I'm going to weld it on. So things look better when you actually, first of all, take time to do them. Take your time. And when you make things not just two-dimensional. Okay, so that's the basics on adding features. Always make sure that about three, let's go 3. 3 times during a class, you make sure that you can still get your clay piece off of your table. At least 3 times a class. Okay guys, the last thing we're going to watch is how to add texture.